Welcome to Two Psychics. This is Michael Edley, evidential medium and mystic, discussing all things spiritual.
Hello, I'm Mary Amy of Two Psychics, an intuitive wisdom coach, tapping into your mystical life and sharing messages I receive about you.
Well, good morning, everyone. Oh, it's nice to be able to say good morning. So we are coming to you live, Two Psychics podcast. We're very excited to be streaming on a new platform here, so we can actually take live callers. You can listen to us live. And I am here with my fabulous co-host, Mary Amy. What is up, Mary Amy? How are you?
Hi, Michael. How are you? Good to see you. Out of one eye, because one eye, I'm not wearing my contact. The other one I have, because I got eye trauma. But you know what? Here I am. The show must go on. It's Two Psychics, episode 63. It's all about raising your frequency, and we have guest who is right there because we don't want to lose her, so she's here with us. And it's Caroline Glazebrook. Is a mystic, a channel, a rose priestess, and deeply connected with Mary Magdalene. And it's August 21st, 2025, 9 a.m. And I'm going to give a little description of her. But first, let's get into what's going on with you now, Michael. What's new?
I'm sitting here in what seems to be the start of this monsoon that's coming up the East Coast. So my plants and my lawn has been watered well over the last couple of days. You know, we've been getting a lot of rain. I don't know, have you been hearing all the chaos of the monsoon coming up the East Coast, and they're pulling everyone out of the water, not allowing people to surf and all that good stuff. So I think the best thing we could do right now. So what I do is kind of unplug from the media and unplug from the news. It's funny. It's funny how, a simple storm can send everybody into this frenzy of not wanting to be near the beach. And it's funny because here, living in a shore town, it's been very quiet. And for me, I appreciate that. It's almost been like getting my local summer early. So it's been interesting, but my lawn is loving the weather. It's nice and green again. My plants are thriving in all this rain. And I've been doing a lot of self-care. I think that's the cycle that I've been going into a lot, trying to meditate quite a bit. I've been trying to eat healthier, trying to exercise a lot. So self-care has been my priority. I know it's always at the forefront of your mindset too, Mary Amy. You're always exercising, working out, being physically fit. So I've been trying to embrace that also. And it's been good. It feels good. That mind, body, spirit connection. I think it's so important for us to, take care of the body, because the body is the foundation of everything else. If we don't have our health, we truly have nothing. So that's been an important factor. And then the taking care of the body and the mind, spirit, I've been really incorporating meditation on a daily basis and doing a lot of private readings lately and a lot of group readings. I've really had to be mindful of my energy and how I'm showing up, how I'm, what energy I'm putting out into the world, what energy I'm absorbing. And I think on all three levels, I've been trying to keep them at the forefront of my focus.
Well, it's interesting. You mentioned about the weather, and weather seems to be something that is an engaging conversation. People will have nothing to speak about, so then they'll talk about the weather. And I'll hear people say in my matrix job, my it's not 9 to 5, but it's a part-time job. They speak about the weather, and I unless it affects me directly and preventing me where I can't get out because it's so bad, I just discard it, because I think of rain is great for the plants and the nature. And we have, if it's not too hot, it's too rainy, there's too much snow. So I say, okay, I love all the seasons. I've been really just being selfish. And in regard to self-care, I've been just saying, okay, you need to sleep more, push everything out. Self-care with what you said, exercise. I've been spending a lot of time just walking, Not that much exercising, but more like outside and just in nature, walking around and turning to myself, inward to my heart space, surrendering to it, lots of prayer. I I sense that I have to kind of go undercover for a little bit because I'm so empathic. I take on everyone's energies, and I did that for that time that my baby dog was sick, and I did it too much. And then it's like it takes a part of me away. So I've really been tuning into more like focusing in on this podcast, finding great guests like we have today, doing the next step towards two psychics, and also working on my book. So I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to be here today and to have a chance to present.
And the one thing is, I want to interject a little. It's not
Yeah.
selfish. It's not selfish. And it's funny. And I know it's not a selfish thing, but we truly have to take care of ourselves. And I think that's sometimes the mindset that people get into. I have so much to do. I have so many priorities that our self-care is usually on the bottom of the list. And it's so important to put that on the top of the list, because it isn't selfish. It's in taking care of us and taking care of our own energy and taking care of ourselves. We can show up to the best of our ability. We can be the best who we need to be. And I always tell anyone that I'm sitting with or giving a reading to is, we need to fill our cup so we can fill the cup of others. Us showing up as our best self is so important, and it's so important for others that are around us, and to positively affect them, and hopefully we can be that beacon of light. So it's definitely not selfish. It's truly self-care and making sure that's a priority, so we can fill our cup and we can fill the cup of others from that.
Well, thanks for saying that. I feel a little bit better. You know what it is that I'm here. I'm the starseed. I'm an Arcturian starseed light worker, and I'm here, and I've just devoted myself to really rushing to my destiny, even though I'm living in the moment and having gratitude, rushing to my destiny, which is to present as many of these talented, insightful, enlightened beings like we have today. Okay, so let's get on the topic, because we want to present Caroline, and she's right here. So
it's very, very patiently waiting. Very
from
patiently
England.
waiting.
Here we are in New York on the East Coast, but here she is. And I know it's a 5-hour beyond us. Okay, so raising your vibrational frequency. We speak about that. Why? Because you will ascend to a higher consciousness and more light in your system. So to raise your vibrational frequency is all about measuring how often a cycle repeats in the amount of time, how fast energy contracts and expands. It's the number of waves over a period of time. The higher your vibrational frequency, it's an improvement of higher consciousness. And you are going to be healing your DNA. Now, that sounds so technical, doesn't it? But raising your vibrational frequency will bring you to a higher consciousness, meaning you'll have more peace within you, more joy, more love, more hope. Okay, how do you do that? Well, we've had guests on, and Shayna Blackmore, and she's a sound healer, and I just uploaded a video, and there's the gong on there and her doing a sound bath for us. So if you go online and you can go into a search engine and find specific hertz. Okay, 432 hertz brings miracles. I'm going to give you a few. 396 hertz transforms negative emotions into forgiveness. See, that's it too. Unconditional love, forgiving others, forgiving yourself. 417 hertz clears negativity, removes blockages. 528 hertz is all about love and repairs your DNA. I'm almost done. 639 hertz develops personal unity. It doesn't sound complicated, everyone. You just try it. 741 hertz cleans your body of toxins. 852 hertz awakens your intuition. Okay, so focusing on listening to some kind of sound healing, going to a light source, meaning a sunrise, a sunset, listening to a visualization, bringing light into your system. Eating organically, raw fruits, vegetables, seeds, grain, spending time in nature. Here's all some suggestions. They're not musts, suggestions. Letting go of all the attachments that you're holding on to. What happened before this moment? What are you going to? No, in this moment lies all the energy. This is where we create. This is where all the potential lies. Okay? Watching and paying attention to what you're ingesting visually. What are you watching? Are you watching news, all these negative events? Take that out of your system. Don't do that, because that's going to jar you. That's going to raise your blood pressure. It's your heart rate. It's going to stress you out. Let's stay away from anything that's negative out in the media, okay? Focus on meditating and your breath. Exhale for twice as long as you're inhaling, okay? Breathing exercises. I'm almost done. Surround yourself with positive and hopeful people. That's what we're doing today, aren't we? And then feel the emotions of love, forgiveness, and gratitude. Okay, Michael, what do you have?
I love how you talk about unplugging from the news, and that's one thing I tell people all the time. Now, I haven't had television for probably going on about 10 years. And it was one of the best things I had ever done, was unplug from that. And what people need to realize is they're sensationalizing the negative. A negative headline draws in so much more focus and so much more attention than a positive headline. And if you're waking up each morning and immediately, you jump on your phone, or you're scrolling through your social media feeds, you're turning on the TV, that's what your focus is. And that's the energy you're going to initially be drawn into. So the one thing I'll tell anyone that's sitting with me, any of my clients, anyone I'm doing a workshop with, is make sure the moment you wake up, do not turn on the TV. If it's still in your house, do not jump on your phone. Focus on grounding your energy. Focus on absorbing and sitting with your energetic body. Feel that energy ground. Take all you need to do. It's a very simple exercise. You can just envision that divine golden white light coming through the top of the head, the crown chakra, and feel as if you're sitting in that beautiful energy, almost as if you're sitting in a waterfall of beautiful divine golden white light. Let that trickle through your body. Feel that feel it in your shoulders, in your arms, bring it into your heart space, and just allow that to travel down through your body, out the bottom of your feet. Release any energies that are no longer serving you back into Mother Earth. Ground and focus, and start with a solid foundation. Start your day on a positive note, rather than focusing in on the news, the headlines, all the negativity that's going on out there. And what that'll do is that will shift your focus and your energy, and it'll align you into a higher resonant frequency. Now, we're talking all about energy and vibrations and frequency today. What we can do is try to shift and raise our vibration. The higher we're raising our vibration and the higher our resonant frequency is, the more of that negative stuff that's going to kind of pass underneath us, the more of it we're not going to be drawn into. And there's a very common saying of, where your focus goes, your energy flows. So it's very important to be mindful of the energy you're focusing on. If you're constantly focusing on the negative headlines, if you're constantly focusing on the chaos and the chaotic energy that's going on out there in the world, you're going to be more drawn into that. So start your day on a more positive note. If you need to jump onto your email, or you need to jump onto your social media feed and check that out, well, don't allow that to be the first thing. At least set yourself up on a more solid, fundamental, energetic platform. And that's raising your energetic frequency, raising your resonant vibration to a higher level. And just by opening your energetic body and grounding and allowing that positive energy to be your platform, you'll find the first day you do it, it may seem a little awkward or a little uneasy because you haven't done it, or you may start to see certain energies causing you to feel a little anxious. But the more we do that, the more we align and tune into that. And I guarantee after the first week of doing that, and then the first month and the first year of doing that, you will completely shift your energetic body. And it's so important. Again, where our focus goes, the energy flows, and it's important to be very mindful of that.
Okay. Love it. Yeah. I love it. There you go. That's a great start for our day, isn't it? Okay, everyone. So here we are. We're going to present Caroline Glazebrook. I know I'm mispronouncing that. And she's a mystic, a channel, a rose priestess, and deeply connected with Mary Magdalene. She's a sacred alchemist of heart, soul, mastery. She's helping people to remember their authentic divinity, becoming free from energy blocks and karmic imprints to embody their sovereign heart, soul, light. And she's the co-founder, oh, I can't wait to hear about this, the Sacred Magdalene Festival and Pilgrimage of Light in Glastonbury, Avalon. And she organizes and initiates journeys teaching the Magdalene and Rose mysteries several times a year on her retreats in the south of France. She also offers channeled readings, meditations, one-to-one mastery, mentoring sessions, talks and workshops in England, Europe, French, and Spanish. Wow. And you can go to her website, which is carolinegasbrook.co.uk. Okay, let's welcome her so she can. Hi.
We can finally hear that lovely English. Is it an English accent, Caroline? It's such a pleasure.
It is an English accent. It's so lovely to be with both of you, and I was enjoying both of you. That it was like a beautiful shower of absolute positivity, of inspiration for how everyone can really begin their day and be true to their alignment. So thank you for that. And it's lovely to be here with both of you. So yes, it's Caroline Glazebrook, Glaze, like on my name. And my website is carolineglazebrook.co.uk. And I am in Avalon. So Avalon, I think you know, is the it's this ancient isle of this incredible magical energy that is also known as Glastonbury. With Glastonbury Tour and the sacred springs that were very sacred, that always been very sacred, and it has always attracted throughout the centuries and sort of millennia, really, people coming to share ideas. It's a mystery school, like the mystery schools of ancient Egypt and the Holy Land. So it's always attracted people with great wisdom, wanting to expand and to share, and also a very high frequency. And it is, in fact, known as the heart chakra of the world. So Glastonbury is the town. Avalon is like the overlighting energy of light. So it is really lovely that I can share some of that energy from Avalon with you as well.
That is fantastic. Yeah, it must be amazing to be in that energy all the time. Now, have you lived there your whole life, or did you move there? Or tell us a little bit about your backgrounds and where have you gone throughout in Europe?
Well, I'm from London originally. I've lived in this area for the last 15 or so years, 20 years maybe. And so many people say about this area, this Avalon, that it is something that really calls, and it seems to be a call that the soul is whispering, you must go to Glastonbury, you must go to Avalon. And it resonates with past lives from so many people. It is a place where it really is a cosmic mirror to really bring in the energies from the star systems and the ascended masters and so on. And it's a place that really brings people. So of course it called me as well. But actually I spend a lot of time in the south of France because, again, that's somewhere else that is the places that I go and places that I take people on sacred retreats. The energies, that it's a telluric energy that really helps people to receive so much of their soul self and their connection with the divine. And it's like a fast track inspiration to be able to let go of perhaps the heavier energies and to work through those layers, to be in a more high vibration and to be in more of an alignment with the soul path. So I feel like I'm almost between, I have, one foot over in France, one foot in here. And they seem to be almost, very flowing, very fluid, and deeply living in my heart as well.
That's amazing. I love that you're on this divine journey, and it feels it feels like it just keeps expanding for you. And I almost sense that, you know, this journey that you've been on and that you're embracing, I for some reason I just feel like it's only the beginning of it. I feel like there's so much more that's going to open to you. But what I'm really curious about, and a question that I always love asking our guests, is where did this journey start? Like, was there like a religious connection in the family, or some type of spiritual connection early on, or how did your journey begin, and how did you end up on this divine journey that you're embracing now?
Such a good question. And I'm really glad that you asked people that as well, because it's so interesting, because I think so often people find their path is actually quite innate and they haven't really thought about it too much. So it's really great that you ask them, because then there's that moment of reflection to really honor where they've come from and what their path has been, and maybe some of the difficulties that have led to an enlightenment along the way. Because I always, with my clients and the work that I offer, it's something that I really encourage people to do. A bit like you've both been talking about this self-care. I call it this like a sacred reflection of really understanding what it is that you have really learned through your experiences. Because when we are able to let go of the trauma or the difficulty around an experience, then we are left with the wisdom. And it's the wisdom that really helps us to step forward more fully and being more present. And so, to answer your question about what really happened for me, there have been many things that I look back at and remember as a child, but in my family, it was not something that was encouraged or really spoken about. But nevertheless, there were experiences that I couldn't explain, you know, so often the case with people. And then there were, you know, many different things, lots of synchronicities, lots of things just putting me into the right place at the right time. But what really was a real catalyst for me, particularly working with Mary Magdalene, is that I was in the south of France, and again, I had been absolutely called there, and I was beside one of the alchemical rivers and really tuning into the energy that is cascades down and is also reflected. It's you know, so much about as above, so below, and so within, so without. So this idea that everything on earth is really a reflection of the heavenly realm, and that earth is also a heavenly realm, and that we are all being conduits to bring in that energy and help to make our connections between heaven and earth really vibrant, and a sacred union really too. And of course, there are different energy spots around the world that really help that to be possible. But I was there beside the river, really tuning in and not quite realizing that I was already really deep in the work of Mary Magdalene. It was just like I was sensing this. I thought it was another guide. And then it was suddenly really clear when she started to talk to me specifically and was like, you know, remember when we were here, remember what this was about, remember how this worked within the water, remember the alchemy, remember the wisdom in the water. And it was this incredibly strong energy. And then I was tuning in even more and receiving more and more information and realizing actually I'm a channel, which was, I gratefully received that and honored that. But at the first time I was thinking, really, who, me? Why? But of course, we don't always remember our soul self and all of our soul experiences when we have different experiences in our lifetimes, do we? It sometimes can be quite a surprise. And then I was just going back again and again and again and receiving more information and finding that it was really walking a path of miracles with the synchronicities and understanding how that frequency and that vibration is available when we are really, really, truly in our hearts and not so much in our ego mind, and taking things like sacred rest as an essential part of what we are doing when we are flowing through everything that we have to do, all of the obligations, everyone else's energy. I was really hearing you, Mary, about that empathic way of just taking on too much. And that's the kind of thing that's so important, to just pause and remember that you are a sovereign being, that actually you have a divine right to take a moment of sacred rest, to allow your alignment to come back into feeling really gorgeous again and full of light.
So when you were speaking initially, I said, because I can't really see that great because I only have one contact. So I'm really just going by voice, which is great because sometimes I get distracted by visuals. And I'm hearing your voice and it's this velvety sound. It's beautiful. And it's very powerful. And I realized you embody the fountain of youth. You have this healing light within, and you are this waterfall of light. And your journey, what I sense is that no matter which direction, if it's high or low, what you just said impresses upon me that you're engaging in a natural way, and it's enlightening you no matter what happens. Like it's all acceptance for you. And I think it's very unusual. You are just your presence changes people, changes the environment. I don't know if you realize that.
Well, I really, it's really lovely of you to say. And actually, I wasn't really expecting that kind of feedback. So thank you. It's really, I really, really honor that. I have, so for me, I think this is often the case with people when things are really innate. People are just being who they are, and actually, the more that people can be the essence of really who they are, without self-doubt or things, the old patterns that always seem to trip us up, with things, and the more that we can clear things like that, it becomes just a beautiful flow, and then it becomes something that is so natural and innate that unless people reflect something like you just did, it isn't really necessarily that conscious. So I really appreciate that, and I do really also think it's so important that we do reflect to other people what we see in them, what we admire in them, what we really honor in them. It's something that I do a lot with clients, particularly when they're working through quite deep things that have been limiting them, holding them back, and then when they have the tools really just to step forward into that freedom and become unlimited, it is just an incredibly beautiful thing to watch. And I think that the more that we can genuinely offer that feedback and reflection to people, it is so empowering and helpful, and it does spread the vibration of love, which of course we are all engaged in doing. We are all allowing this like golden sparkles of light to spread all around our circles, their circles, the way that it just spreads around the planet. And actually some of the guidance that I hear often from the ascended masters and the angels is that when they are looking at Earth, a bit like, if we're on a plane and we look down and we see the street lights and things and how that makes that gorgeous pattern at night, what they see is a pattern that's similar to that, but it's all of our heart light, and it's connecting up, and it's getting stronger, and it's growing, and it's really spreading all around the planet. And that shows me that the more that we just hold the frequency of love or gratitude, which is an aspect of that, the more that we are thinking about what we are grateful for, what we're feeling blessed about, what we are sharing, what we are honoring in Mother Earth, or what we are connecting with, if with those strong rains that have been coming in, and you're seeing that the grass and the plants are just like embracing it, like thank you. And it's just those observances that are really help us to connect with the interconnectedness and the sacred union of nature and the divine and our heart and all of that light that we are really helping to anchor and to hold and to shine.
What was it like when you were a little girl? Did you always have this mystical quality? I mean, you it's almost as though, to me, you could say somewhat of a prophet, because you have this quality that is beyond, like you use the word innate human behavior and foresight. What were you like as a little girl, and what was the catalyst, if you weren't born this way, that brought you into these thoughts and this energy?
That's also a really good question. It's interesting because there were, I grew up in London. My some of my grandparents lived in this really beautiful, magical house in Sussex with just everything about it was abundant and beautiful, and everything in the land and the garden was just wonderful. And I was always very aware of, the elementals and this sort of magical weaving that the plant spirits are doing and the fairies are creating, and this light that lives within nature, particularly in woodland, which I always love trees. I think they are so wise and have so much to share with us, and they're very generous in the way that they do connect. And actually, I'm friends with the head gardener at Chalice Well, which is such a spiritual place of this amazing energy and this red spring that's always flowing. And he told me this absolute wisdom, which is true, but I hadn't kind of just joined the dots. So when he said it, it was like, oh, of course. And it made me feel so incredibly humble that trees offer healing, as we know, that if people go and they're feeling upset or distressed or overwhelmed or whatever they're feeling, the trees will always make people feel better. It's like they give this strength and this love and this support and this acceptance and no judgment, which is always so important. But what my friend told me is that when people have gone and they're feeling better, but they've gone, the trees continue after the healing to that person. And that for me is just like such just shows me that they are such divine beings that are woven in the trees and that nature and the woodland. So I spend a lot of time in woodland, but in my everyday life as a child, anything that I spoke about was not really encouraged. It was like, oh, you're making it up, or you must have dreamt that, or, that so many people have. So sometimes I've wondered about, well, why is it that we seem to have to go through these a bit like in the tarot journey, these like quests to find what was always within. And I do think it's like it's a process of remembering, and that it probably, if we came in as avatars immediately, we might overuse it. So it has to be in step with the context of the time. And I see it now that the people who are coming in now are fully star beings, fully avatars of light, and it's much because the frequency of the planet is much higher, so it makes it easier for them to hold that frequency. But I think that there's a photo somewhere of me when I was about 4, and I was wearing silver knee-length boots, and there was just this defiant look on my face of like, I know who I am. And then and I saw it. It was like a couple of years ago that I saw it, and I didn't even really know it existed. But when I saw it, I really smiled because I was thinking, oh yeah, okay, I knew who I was when I was 4. But I think a lot of psychologists say that at 4, people really know who they are, and then it's after that that the overlays that other people put on people, the restrictions, the limitations, they begin after that. And then so we're in this process of trying to free ourselves from all of those misconceptions, sometimes meant with love, sometimes not so meant with love, but it's everybody's path, isn't it? What were you like, Mary? What were you like?
Oh, well, I had a near-death experience at 2.5, so I had a different perception of the world, and I had angels that came to me and comforted me. So I was in kindergarten, leaving the classroom and going outside to go on the swings and not telling anyone, and they searched the whole building for me, and I was outside on the playground. So I was always defiant, I guess you could say, but not realizing I was. I didn't go by rules. I never have. So I did have this connection to the angelic realm and God's source, and I felt God's presence. Even though I had this trauma, it was the same amount of pain that I felt. I had the same amount of light and love and purpose. So as a child, I had this perception of what other people were, their personality and their attitude, and I just kind of tried to swerve around anything that was an obstacle or went right through it.
Mary was a rebel from a young age.
I was.
She marched to her own drum. I think like many of us do. Caroline, the one thing that I love that you speak about is the interconnectedness of all things. You know, how we're interconnected and how we are connected to the trees and the earth and the plants. I think it's very important because I think in this day and age, I think many people feel disconnected. And I think many people feel, you know, they feel like they need something to connect to, and they're drawn into, like what we spoke earlier, they're drawn into the news or the chaotic things that are going on in the world. And they seem very disconnected from source, very disconnected from, you know, other divine beings. They feel disconnected from other humans. What are some mindfulness techniques or some things you can speak to our audience about to kind of get back to that feeling of we're all interconnected? We all come from divine source. We are all a divine being. You know, what would be some mindfulness techniques or some things that you utilize with your own clients and you utilize in your own daily activities that can bring us back to that feeling of the interconnectedness to all things?
Yeah, thank you for the question, because the interconnectedness of all things is absolutely something that is like it's coming back online. You know, we are remembering so quickly in this time of this great awakening, the great remembrance, that actually we really genuinely are all connected. And so one of the things that actually I was thinking about when you were both talking at the beginning about this, the raising your vibration, was actually I wanted really to say how important it is that people learn how to protect their energy, because there's a lot of energy around. And one of the things is that there are many people obviously who are well on their path and are doing this anyway, but anyone who isn't, it's just a way of really becoming in touch with what your own energy feels like, because again, that's part of this sacred honoring or sacred rest of really knowing what you feel like when you're in you're feeling amazing, and not feeling amazing because of an external circumstance, because you've just spent time with somebody that you're really, you really admire, you're really in love with. It's more that you are able to find this stillness, this heart space, this amazing place within that contains everything that we really need to know. And it's, what does that energy feel like? What does that vibration feel like? So for some people it will feel like, oh, I feel just peaceful, or I actually feel really joyful, or I feel so creative, or whatever it is. It's like noticing that and then finding a technique that you around that, just to protect it like it's a precious jewel, because actually it is your inner light and it is a precious jewel. So for many people that's just like a big cloak. It can be a like an egg of a color. It can be some people have actual armor or shields or mirrors. So it's something that really works, because then you're able to know what your energy feels like and your vibration feels like. And then if you are interacting with someone, you go somewhere that makes you feel off, it's much easier to be aware of that, and then to protect yourself, know that you are protected, and also just to know that that is not for you, because that part of that discernment, what resonates with you, what doesn't resonate with you, is something that is part of mastery, really, of being in your alignment with your soul, with your heart and your soul. And one thing I'd love to share with you about the interconnectedness was at the Pilgrimage of Light. So I I co-create the Sacred Magdalene Festival, which happens every July in Glastonbury. And the Pilgrimage of Light is when people at sunset gather together and we walk up Glastonbury Tor, which in itself is an access point between heaven and earth. It's this magical hill that you may know about, but it has the remains of an old church, which is like a tower on top, and it has like a labyrinth, a natural labyrinth in it. And it is, there are so many myths and legends associated with it, but it is an amazing place. So we go up, we take candle lanterns, and at the top, we join in a circle and we sing, we chant, we bring in the frequency, the living frequency of Mary Magdalene, and then light our candle lanterns from a sacred fire, from an Agnihotra ceremony. And then once it gets dark, we go down the hill again. And it's this very reverential, very beautiful, very joyful, deeply wonderful pilgrimage of light. The interconnectedness was amazing because as I was observing all of these hundreds of people in this massive circle, all singing, all enjoying, just feeling this light, this deep connection with the earth, this deep connection with the heavenly realms, the source energy, with the angels, the ascended masters, all of the guides. I mean, it was just beautiful. And what I could really perceive was this heart-to-heart connectedness, like there was a circle of golden love just connecting everyone. And as people started to feel it in themselves, everything went deeper. And the sense of this connection with the earth, with Gaia, with Mother Earth, went even deeper. And it was this profound energy of, this is what we are supposed to be feeling. This is what we are supposed to be remembering. This is our way of being. That this beautiful planet nourishes us, supports us, sustains us, inspires us, and all of the beautiful plants and the trees that we've been speaking about. And that the more that we are able to connect and feel the earth and our connection with the earth, the more that we can feel that we are able to receive even more light. It's a way of being grounded is a word. I think anchored is a better description, because it's just allowing us to feel that we are firm-footed, stepping forward, and then receiving even more of this amazing light, as if we're a chalice and our heart is really a chalice, sort of bringing it all in.
Wow.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you're speaking about really sensing and feeling the energy that we could be taking on from other people, other places, other things. And I think that's very important for anyone that's out there listening. Is we have to make a conscious effort to be aware of the energies that we're absorbing. So whether that's people that you're coming in contact, whether that's an environment, a work environment, a home environment, you can definitely tap into that energy and utilize your intuitive psychic senses to feel that energy. And how does that energy resonate with you? Is there a harmony? Is there a balance that you're feeling with that energy? Does it resonate with you in a positive way? Or are you feeling, disharmonized? Are you feeling like the energy is causing you anxious, chaotic feelings or sensations in your body? And sometimes that could be us recalibrating our energetic systems in a new awareness. But we have to be very mindful of what we're feeling and what is coming to us in certain environments, when we're coming in contact with certain places, certain things. And I love, Carolyn, that you speak about that, because I think that's the thing that people kind of disconnect from, or they don't bring their awareness to. Is a lot of times people will feel as if, am I depressed? Am I having an anxiety attack? And it may not be anything to do with you at all. And it may be the energy that you're absorbing from some type of situation, some type of energetic connection that you're experiencing. So I think that's one thing people can do, is really take a step back and have an awareness and a mindfulness to assess the energy that you're absorbing. So I think it's very, very important for people to tune into that. And I think that can really, really start to bring an awareness and an awakening to your own energetic body, and a mindfulness to what you're experiencing in your everyday waking moments, and it's really important to have that awareness and have that mindfulness. So I really appreciate you speaking about that. One thing that we try to do and implement here on the Two Psychics podcast is we try to give people tools or techniques or different things they can utilize in their day-to-day moments to bring that mindfulness and awareness to them. Are there any techniques or any mindfulness practices that you would say, hey, this is absolutely something you should incorporate into your daily routine? Is there any specifics that you talk with your own clients, or anything that you utilize in your own daily mindfulness?
Actually, Michael, I really like what you said about, when you get up in the morning, is don't immediately go on social media, or don't turn on the television, or the radio. Just do something that is lovely. And actually, I think one of the simplest things when you wake up in the morning is just to take a moment and think about what you're grateful for. So you're grateful because you had an amazing dream, or you're grateful for because you slept deeply, or you feel like you're ready to get up. Or it could be gratitude if your alarm's waking you up because that you're not going to be late now. So it's whatever it is, it's finding something where you can align yourself with the vibration of gratitude. And then when you go into the bathroom and look in the mirror, smile at yourself. Tell yourself something lovely. And even if it's just, thank you for being here today, or I wonder what's going to be happening today, or whatever it is. And it puts you into a place of possibilities and of feeling positive. Because so often it's really easy because there are other people in the family that are demanding something of you, or there's a schedule that you have to stick to, or you've got something that you're genuinely worrying about, so whatever it is, just taking that moment to think of something lovely, or if you have a beautiful view from your window, you're looking at something that inspires you. So it's just the focus, the choice to spend a few moments. It can be 10 seconds, but it's a choice to think of something that is lovely, positive, a blessing of some kind. And actually, this is, what we've both touched on, I think, with the discernment. It's the ability that we have, which is to choose at each moment where we put our thoughts, where we put our attention. And to just have that ability to think, just for this moment, I choose to think about whatever it is. I mean, for example, roses are always in my house because it has such a high vibration, because it's so beautiful, so it's deeply connected with Mary Magdalene, also with Mother Mary, and Venus and divinity and gorgeousness and beauty. And so, I love to look at roses, or I love to look at things in my garden and see how, just by just a few plants will bring in so many bees and so many butterflies. And that, to me, it's just like, I'm so grateful to be able to offer that to nature, So I think it's that way of, what is it? How can you just spend a few seconds choosing to be in that moment of focus of positivity?
Yeah, I love that. That's such a great mindset to be in. Is we all have a choice, and we all have something to be grateful for, and that's something we speak about a lot. Just your waking moments of taking your first waking breath of the morning. That's something to be grateful for. Not everyone has that. Not everyone will wake up tomorrow and be able to take that first breath. So there's always something to be grateful for, and we always have the choice to focus on that positive. And I love what you speak about, looking into the mirror and thanking yourself for being there. And a lot of times this human condition gets us to be very hard on ourselves, or we tend to focus on what could we have done better, what could we have done differently, and that kind of draws us into that. So to take a moment and to thank yourself for showing up, and to being very mindful of, we have a choice to focus on the positive and to focus on being grateful. I think that can significantly impact each and every one of us, and that can significantly impact that positive energy we show up with for the start of that day. I love that. I think that is fantastic. And I think that's the thing. A lot of people overthink the small things, you know, and it's really, you know, being grateful, that mindfulness, and it doesn't have to be, you know, I haven't sat on a log in the woods like a Buddhist monk for several hours today. It's very small actions that we can take in our waking moments and throughout the day. So I love that. I think we tend to overthink that we need these magnificent, divine, you know, spiritual experiences to shift, but it's not. It's truly in those small moments that we can completely shift our awareness. So I love that. Thank you so much for speaking about that. I think that can bring a lot of profound insight and guidance to anyone that's listening.
Caroline, tell us about your connection to Mary Magdalene, and when this happened, or what brought this, her spirit, her presence into your life.
Thank you for that question. Well, I work with her really every day, and so much of my offerings are in connection with Mary Magdalene. So sharing her wisdom teachings, her ministry, also the helping to connect with her. I mean, what she is really offering people is a living frequency that is for this time now, of this awakening, this great remembrance. And so she is known as this historical figure, but actually her frequency is about love. It's about a commitment to yourself, to your soul self, your ability to shine your light. Magdalene, as you may know, is a word for, or Magdala is a word for tower, like a lighthouse, like a tower of light. And she's really encouraging people to find our inner light and to shine it, to be way showers, to be beacons of light. You know, all of the things that you and Michael have already been really talking about is this way of showing up and being beacons for other people, and to help people to step forward on their paths. So she also is encouraging people to do the inner work, you know, to really understand and integrate shadow work, to understand that there is wisdom within that, that it is a way of allowing and holding everything in love, so that anything that is to do with difficult emotions or negative emotions, we might call them, are actually part of experience, and therefore they can be loved and transmuted in a great alchemy. She was a fantastic alchemist. So it's about the way of really allowing shifts to take place. And so, you know, as I mentioned earlier, it was really in the south of France where I really understood how present she was with me. And then from there I was like, well, okay, then, yes, I will listen, and I will work with you, and how can I help you, and what would you like me to do? It was that kind of conversation, really. And so when I'm so, for example, if I'm giving readings, she's very present. And actually, a lot of the people who come to me for that guidance from their own spirit guides, or from the Ascended Masters, or from Mary Magdalene, a lot of them are finding that Mary Magdalene is showing up in their lives too. And I think that there are so many people who are finding that she is super present and encouraging. She's just encouraging us to step forward and to shine. And so, for example, when I take people to the south of France, that is one of the places that she lived. And so it's she seeded light codes into the waters, into the beautiful landscapes, into ancient places. And so it is possible to feel the resonance and to connect with those frequencies. And that in itself is an alchemy. They're like gateways to understanding, to wisdom, to cosmic awareness, to expansion, to illumination. And it's also the case in Avalon as well. Those, you know, both places are very, very resonant, very active, and helping people to be in their heart. So, for example, this flame that is here, this is the Magdalene eternal flame. And in Glastonbury, there are several flames, like a unity flame, a peace flame. there are various other flames that are part of the, this sort of beautiful weaving that happens within Glastonbury and the spiritual people who are here. And I was basically, Mary Magdalene said to me, well, it's time. It's time for my flame to be here. And I had a moment of thinking, well, hasn't anyone else done that yet? And she's like, no, I really want you to do it. So what happened was that at the Sacred Magdalene Festival in July, we lit the flame for the first time. And then I passed it around and each person was able to bless the flame. And what I was seeing as it was going around all of these people was she was saying to me that she was seeing devotion. But what it wasn't devotion to her, because she really doesn't encourage devotion to her. There's no dogma, there's no ritual, there's no needing to live in a certain way. It's really her way of being is that she encourages people to fully be in their essence, their alignment. So she was talking about how there is this devotion, but it was devotion to themselves, devotion to their own light. And I realized that this flame is actually a mirror to each person's heart light. And that when people spend time with the flame, they are able to receive their own heart light with more clarity, with more communion. And it was just, I was in tears when I was watching this. And then, of course, I had to speak afterwards. And I was saying, trying to speak and sobbing and trying not to cry. And then I was thinking, we really have to learn how to be able to cry and speak at the same time. So if either of you know how to do that, please share that, because that will be a wonderful technique, instead of feeling like I'm stopped in my tracks because I'm so overwhelmed by the beauty and love that I see as people's hearts just expand, and that light that is then connecting with everyone else's heart light. It is truly beautiful.
Oh my goodness. I love it. You have such a strong presence. I know this is going to have, it's beyond the butterfly effect. So your words are the butterfly effect. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of speechless, because I grew up in the Catholic, and so there's misconceptions, or I guess I'm just saying this because the Mary Magdalene was given a bad rap, a bad vibe. And so I don't know that much about her outside of what was said. However, she was, I guess, one of the women around Jesus, wasn't she? And I love that you're bringing a new light to her. And I don't really have a lot of insight about her, and I appreciate you sharing this, because it's changing my thought process about her.
Well, thank you for saying that, because I think that is true for a lot of people, that they grew up being told a very limited story about the sacred feminine throughout the Bible, because the sacred feminine is really largely erased from it. And yet everything in nature is about a sacred union of both the masculine and the feminine. We within us have our energy streams of masculine and feminine. And everything that we are doing as we walk this path of awakening, really, and of light, is that we are remembering the sacred union. It's written about in the Song of Songs as the sacred marriage, the hieros gamos. It's within ourselves, it's within our heart and our soul, it's within heaven and earth, it's within our connection with Source, with Mother Earth, with everything. And so one of the things that happened with Mary Magdalene is that she was largely erased from the whole of the story around Jesus, around Yeshua. And in fact, if you read the Gnostic Gospels, which of course were found much more recently in Nag Hammadi and also in the Dead Sea Scrolls, that actually the truth is very different. But if you look at just the text of the New Testament, for example, you can see where actually there is truth that is just slightly obscured or slightly changed. So, for example, she and Yeshua or Jesus were really working together, and she had great knowledge and great wisdom. And what happened when there was the Council of Nicaea, when Constantine was really getting all of those people together to decide what was going to be kept as text, what was going to be discarded, what they decided to keep was the masculine only story, and that really spoke to their desire to have power and control and to make it a global belief system, remembering that they were Roman, but Roman was very much about different deities. And actually in early Christians, they were all persecuted. But then a few centuries later, there was this decision to make Christianity Catholicism the religion. So it made sense from their perspective that if there was too much about the importance of union of the masculine and the feminine, and the sanctity and the ability to connect in your own heart with source energy, with God, that actually that wouldn't necessarily be so good for the priests who wanted that control. So, it's a long story. We know that we are remembering now. And, the Catholic Church in 1969 said, oh, no, she wasn't a penitent prostitute. Sorry, we got that wrong. But it still persists. There is still this kind of belief. It's like a thought form in the ether. But interestingly, if you just look at the resurrection story, the other apostles weren't there. It was Mary Magdalene who was there. He resurrected to her. She was the one who was the witness. She was the one he spoke to. She was there, no one else. And actually, if you think about that, then you have to ask the questions, well, why was that? And the reason for why was because they were in sacred union. She was just as important in terms of bringing the message of love to everybody and to sharing that. So I totally honor and appreciate what you're saying, Mary, about it's sort of slightly, it doesn't feel so natural because it's kind of not resonating. There's a dissonance with what you believed growing up, but actually there is so much that if you just, for people who are not so sure, if you just consider for a moment, well, where is the truth in that? What is that? Because I always say to clients and to people, if something resonates with you, that is wonderful. If something doesn't resonate with you, that is also wonderful because you can just let it go. So it's about that knowing what is right for you. Where is the truth? What feels right for you? If it feels right, that is wonderful. If it doesn't, then let it go, because then you are still in your sovereign heart space.
Well, I'm open to it. It's basically, I don't have any knowledge about it except the brief information that I had. However, here I am. I invited you because I want to have more of an open understanding. And it's not even, it's people, or there was no judgment or anything. It was more like, I need to have this information because it's more present now. And it is a time to bring this forward. And I know that the truths were hidden. So I appreciate you coming on and sharing this insight about just everything you've spoken about today in regard to the light in the world, and how just spending time in stillness. I believe that wholeheartedly, in nature, trees, prayer, just finding yourself. And it's so it's not complicated. This is not complicated. I just think that we haven't been shown this way and given a chance to just be. It's always about going. And you mentioned about waking up and not going right to some kind of outside source, because all the answers are within us, right?
Absolutely.
And we have to allow that and everything out here in the physical reality is making us rush to something else or a distraction from us being.
Well, that's one thing, Caroline, I love that you speak about is like the early doctrine and how Mary Magdalene was there for the resurrection. And she was the one that Jesus had come to first, you know, when he had risen from the grave. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize is when the Roman Empire took control of the Catholic Church in the early 400 AD, it was for control and manipulation. If we look back at the Old Testament and if we truly deep dive into the Old and the New Testament, there's so much there that, just for example, you know, the early ministry of Jesus being so connected to prophetic word, gift of knowledge, healing, and it's, you know, been taken away from people. And I think that's what people need to understand is when we really truly get into the deep dive of early mysticism of the ancient text, we truly see that we were divinely connected, and it is our God-given gift that we've always possessed. And unfortunately, when the Roman Empire, Constantine, harnessed to control that for manipulation, control, they took that away from people. And even in modern times, people that were raised in these devout religious households, you know, they felt as if they weren't connected and they needed the priest to be the intercessor when we truly are connected, and it is our God-given ability. And I think people are opening and awakening to that again. And I think even in the church, there's been a shift in consciousness, and we're seeing so many new ministries and so many things popping up that are connecting people back into the ancient word of Jesus, into the energy of Mary Magdalene and that interconnectedness and how integral she was to the story. So I think that's so important for people to do their own deep dive, do their own research, and truly know that we are divinely connected. It is our God-given gift to have that divine connection to Mary Magdalene, to Jesus, to the divine realm around us, to the angels, the saints, to our guides, the ascended masters. That is our divine gift that we possess in this human existence. And I think it's so important that people like Mary, Caroline, and myself speak about this, and we bring that light to anyone out there that's listening. Just know you are divinely connected. You are a divine being. It is your God-given gift to have this connection, and it's so important we open and awaken to that. And now, Caroline, truly appreciate you being here with us. So anyone out there, we have I'm going to call you a modern mystic, because that's truly what I believe you are. I believe you are a modern mystic. So Caroline Glazebrook, it's been such an interesting conversation, and I so appreciate you being here with Two Psychics podcast and bringing your insight and guidance to our audience, because these are the things we need to talk about. These are the things that we need to bring our awareness to, and we need to kind of turn on that inward journey and do our own deep dive. And what resonates with us, you know, what resonates with you on a deep personal level, and know that you are divinely connected. Now, Caroline, can you share with our listeners the best way that if they want to deep dive with Mary Magdalene, hear a little bit more of your insight and guidance, what's the best way for them to connect to you?
First of all, I just want to say thank you so much to both of you. I knew that this would be a wonderful conversation, and that, you know, if we could go on for hours, it probably would. But, you know, so I really appreciate the you know, to be able to just to share this space with you and to speak with both of you. I really thank you. Yeah, I love connecting with people. I mean, I just love people. So the best way is through my website, which is carolineglazebrook.co.uk. Or you can email me, caroline@carolineglazebrook.co.uk, or you can see my Instagram or YouTube channel, and just, you know, reach out. And it's lovely to share and to connect, and to really know that we are all connected and all shining brightly.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
This
really,
was very enlightening. I'm going to listen to this and watch this a few times today.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here with us. And I think it's it's interesting and it's very exciting speaking to someone, across the sea and getting insight and guidance. And it's just, we are all so interconnected, and I think, we all are truly divinely guided. And I really appreciate you being here. Really appreciate you sharing, your insight and guidance. And yeah, this was a really special conversation, and I'm truly enjoyed having you here with us.
Thank you very much.
I've loved it too. Thank you. And I really honor modern mystic. I'll take that. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you so much for being here.
Oh my goodness. That was amazing. I felt so unintelligent with what I said, because I don't even know how to wrap my brain around some of it, and it's about her presence, and it's a huge reminder, or like she said, a remembrance.
Yeah.
It's about remembering what we already know, and it's about leaving some of this unnecessary.
What a way to start our morning, right? What a blessing. What a blessing this was.
This was great, and I appreciate you coming on, Michael. This was Two Psychics, episode 63, and let's see how this goes moving forward. Have a great day.
Take care, everyone.
Oh, if you want to find us, MaryAmyOfficial.com, Michael Edley's IveTheSpirits.com, and you can go to our Facebook page, Two Psychics Podcast.
Don't forget to like and follow us, IveTheSpirits.com. If you want to check out anything I'm doing, Mary Amy Official. If you want to check out what Mary is doing, Two Psychics Podcast, like and follow on Facebook. I Have the Spirits with Michael Edley on Facebook. And we can't wait for all the new and exciting stuff we'll be bringing to you soon. Yes. Thank you so much for being here.
Bye.
Welcome to Two Psychics. This is Michael Edley, evidential medium and mystic, discussing all things spiritual.
Hello, I'm Mary Amy of Two Psychics, an intuitive wisdom coach, tapping into your mystical life and sharing messages I receive about you.